What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 17 of my Eastside Hockey Manager Early Access Let's Play here with the Maple Leafs. And today, well, we're going to be playing the Habs in a massive game. It's our kind of rivals. We've played them a few times already this year. It wouldn't be a season as the Leafs if we didn't live com at least one of the games against the Habs. So we're going to do the one today. The date's November 21st, so it's 20 days since the last episode. But as you guys all know, if you watched last episode, it was a pretty hectic schedule we had. Yeah, we've played how many games? We've played 12 games in 20 days, which is pretty crazy, but we've done okay, all things considering. Playing this many games in kind of close succession can kind of take a toll on your team. You can see a few injuries building up. We've been fairly fortunate. We've ridden through this rough patch. Still got a fairly packed schedule to the end of the kind of month, but it means that we'll hopefully have slightly less games to play when other teams have a more packed schedule. So anyway, the last episode was actually a defeat against the Lightning. Since then, you can see here we bounced back with a 4-2 win against the Blue Jackets, Kessel grabbing 2, Kadri and Booth also contributing. We then lost to the Red Wings 3-1, disappointing against our rivals. We actually went 3-0 down in this one, or 3-0 down against them after the second. Kessel got a goal back for us, but it wasn't enough. We then beat the Flyers, who have really been struggling in this league. It was a really comfortable game. Good to see Shaw getting on the score sheet. Andrew Shaw, of course, joined us at the start of this season. A player who perhaps wasn't starting as well as I'd hoped he would. We had been relying a lot on our kind of front line and our first line to really get the goals for us, but this guy's really stepped things up lately. He's now got 7 assists and 4 goals. Still not an incredible record, but it's a lot better than it was, and he got a good goal for us here, which certainly helped us in our win. Also worth noting, JVR really taking the mantle this year. We did have Kessel get injured, and that did impact us. Of course, Kessel last year for us was the big man on campus. He was the leading man, and to not have him was a bit of a worry. We did ride through that rough patch, so as you can see here, we beat the Islanders 6-2, so goals were not kind of in shortage, considering that we didn't have kind of our main player, I guess, in Kessel. So that was pretty nice. If we look at the home stats here, I'm pretty sure he was injured for this game. In fact, apparently he wasn't, but the fact he's only on the ice for 13 minutes makes me think this was the game where he got injured. Anyway, the next game was actually a 3-0 defeat against the Panthers. A disappointing performance. Not the score was worrying, especially with Kessel out injured, because Kessel has been kind of the leading man for us. To see this guy get injured, he's now back, which is a relief, but it had me concerned, put it that way. He was out with an ACL sprain for, as you can see here, 13 days. So he missed a fair bit of hockey in this time, and this was a really tough spell for us. It was kind of a test for the team, I guess, to play without him. Anyway, on the back of that Panthers defeat, as you can see, we then got defeated again, this time by the Habs, 3-1. Of course, we have a chance to get some revenge on them perhaps today. Our current record for the season against them is 2-1 to them. We won 4-3 last time we won. You can see in the other 2 games they've both won 3-1, so we've got something of pride, I guess, to try and restore today in this game. Anyway, the next result was a great win. It was against the Blues. The Blues have been going really, really strong. If we just look at the NHL table here, you can see in their conference, they are top of it. They've only had 6 defeats in 22, so that was not an easy game, and we went out there and we gave a really great performance. We ended up winning, JVR getting goals, Panic getting a few assists, a player who I don't talk about too much. As you can see here, we probably deserved the lead. It was a very, very close game, but all in all, we edged we edged the board plays. Face-offs were fairly close. We had a few more shots, but yeah, it was an invaluable win, and it was one of those wins where it doesn't really matter how you do it. As I mentioned, Panic did help out this game. The young Slovenian, a player who I've not talked too much about. He kind of has featured heavily in my 3rd and 4th lines. You can see last year he did play 79 games for me, so he has been kind of a component of our team. He got 53 points in that time too. As you can see, 29 assists, 24 goals. This year, slightly slower. He's got 8 assists so far and 2 goals. But he's a player who, I don't know, I've not really talked about too much, but he's been kind of a presence, I guess, in the team. As you can see, 3rd line potential. predicted to be like Nathan Horton, who we have traded away to the Ducks. I will talk more about that in just a second. Anyway, just to round up these results real quick, we played 4 more games leading into this Habs game. We beat the Sabres 4-3, that was a good result. We then beat the Wild 3-2, another good result because they are fairly high in their division. We then beat the Devils 3-1, which was a good result. As you can see, Bozak, Shaw again getting on the score sheet and Panic getting on the score sheet there. And to round things up, we beat the Preds 3-1. Good comeback. We were 1-0 down in the second, I think. Yeah, we were 1-0 down in the second after 49 seconds, but we bounced back well. Fratton getting some decent goals. We'll talk a little bit about him too, I'm sure, because Fratton's done a job for us. Last year, he got 22 points. This year, he's still kind of featuring in the team, and he got an important goal for us there, which really shifted the momentum of the game. Anyway, I mentioned the transfer and kind of trade of Horton, so let's talk about that one to begin with. So this trade was, again, for a first-round pick. This was the Ducks' first-round pick. As you can see, if we just quickly bring up the conference, right now they are actually in second. They were struggling early on, so I'm kind of regretting trading that first-round pick. But at the same time, it's a first-round pick. Hopefully we can make something of it. But the players we traded away were Nathan Horton, who was on far too large a wages for how good he was, and we had Shaw, who can play right wing, coming into the team, so I'm not too concerned about that. We had Garrett Sparks, who went out as well as part of this deal, just a young potential goaltender, but with us already having 2 fairly decent goaltenders, and this guy being kind of no star, I decided it was just worth my time to let him go as part of this deal. We also gave away the rights to Brandon Kozun here, who's 25. He's an okay player, but he's only a third-line talent, and he's 25, and he's not set to improve. And the last player was kind of included was this guy, Hartikayan, who you can see here is Finnish. He's 25, doesn't really have too much about him, and we gave away the trade rights for him too. So they were the trades that we gave away in order to get the Ducks' first-round pick. As I mentioned, the Ducks recently have kind of stepped things up, so it might not look like the best trade on the face of it, but ultimately it is a first-round pick. If we look at, where's past positions? I'm trying to remember. I mean, it's if we click here, it is. So yeah, you can see here they've really stepped things up lately, the Ducks. The kind of whole conference is really close, so I'm not too concerned at the moment. There's still time for them to drop off, and they have played a few more games than the teams around them. But at the end of the day, it's a first-round pick. I have a few of these now kicking around because we also got the Stars first-round pick in a trade right at the start of the year. There might be an opportunity that presents itself where I'm able to trade perhaps the Stars and the Ducks pick together to get, you know, potentially a better first-round pick, a really early pick. That might be something we look to do. But you can see the Stars are also in 4th, so they're going pretty well as well. But we do have those picks. It's worth kind of considering that they are kind of around. The other player we picked up was actually a player who was put on the waivers by the Senators, Derek Grant. The reason I got this guy in is because with us losing Horton, we kind of just needed a little bit of strength in the forward line. Fortunately, I have a few players who are capable of playing multiple positions, such as on the wing and centre. So Derek Grant coming in, who can play centre and left wing, actually suits us quite well. He's only 25. He has a really low salary of just $500 per year, and if we look at it here, looking at his scout report, he's a third-line talent, and a third-line talent who's on as little money as that, who we could pick up on a free from the waivers. I don't really have any complaints about it. Basically, a really good player to pick up. And yeah, so that's kind of what's been happening. Looking at the kind of our conference, you can see we're currently in 3rd. Today we play the Canadians, who are actually 1 point behind us, so a win here for them would see them go above us. Obviously, we do want to win. Looking at their power play percentage, it's 30%. That is terrifying. We need to shut them down, hopefully not give away too many penalty minutes today against them. Just a bit more about what's been going on at the team. Really, it's been good. Besides the Kessel injury for a few weeks, or just under 2 weeks, there's not been any other injuries to tell you guys about. If we look at all the players contracted to us, our youngsters are still improving. Nylander's back from injury. He's not played a ton yet, but you can see he has now got 5 assists in 14. I think he's got 4 assists in his last 4 or something to that effect. He really did have a slow start to the season. Pilon, our defenseman, who we drafted last year, is going well. 8 assists and 6 goals for him is pretty decent. As you can see, 14 points in 23, 7.04 average rating. Lawson Kruse, or Kraus, is going well. as you can see here. He's not improved too much yet, this guy. I think his deflections have gone up by 1. What I've been doing is I've actually kept screenshots of all these players from when I drafted them, so I can keep a close eye on who's been improving. None of them have improved as much as I'd like, with the exception of Connor McDavid, who is improving an absolute ton. When we drafted him, his acceleration was 14, that's gone up to 17. His face-offs was 10, that's now gone up to 12. His stick handling was 10, that's now gone up to 12. Speed has improved. All in all, he's looking great. As I mentioned, right, I think it was a few years ago, what I'd really love to see is a way that you can snapshot this player, and then when you compare players, you're able to compare him to his former self. That would make kind of tracking these stats so much more kind of convenient, I guess, than what I'm having to do right now, which is pretty much just take screenshots every 6 months or so and carefully monitor the player's development. But yeah, McDavid's been doing really well. You can see at junior level, he's got 17 assists and 7 goals in 24, so 24 points in 24 games is pretty decent, all things considering. And he's doing a pretty good job for the Otters, and who knows, by the end of the season, I may well draft him up to our NHL team, because he really is performing as well, and improving as well as I'd hoped. We are also looking at perhaps doing a few trades involving Gauthier. This guy's only 20. He's got second line potential, the centre, but with some of the other young centres we've got coming through, as well as the existing kind of players we have, he's never really going to be above our 4th line for at least the next 4 or 5 years. And so, with a few teams interested, I'm trying to milk the best deal I can for him. So anyway, that's kind of what's been going on at the franchise. Just a quick look at the team stats. You can see our form isn't as great as it was. After our first 10 games, we'd won 8, lost 1, and lost 1 after overtime. Right now, we're sitting at a 7-3-0 record, which is okay for the last 10 games, I guess. A few more defeats than I'd like, but we're still going fairly strong. Looking at the player stats, Bozak has tailed off a little bit. Despite Kessel's injury and having only played 16 games, he's still got 31 points, which is just absolutely ludicrous. JVR Van Riemsdyk is going strong too. You can see here, he's got 35 points for the season and is currently outdoing Kessel. I feel like those two guys are going to have a little battle perhaps to see who can get the most points for the year. But anyway, that's kind of what's been going on there. There's not too much more to tell you about other than the fact we are doing well. Our younger players are developing. We've done a few trades, got a few first round picks which we might be able to use for leverage later on in the year. And I'm pretty happy about where we're going. So anyway, we're going to get straight into this game against the Habs. Just a quick look at our team so you guys can see what's going on. We go with Hjalmarsson and Fowler as our first defensive pair. Of course, Fowler, been a great player for us. He's continued to do well this year so far, 7.55 average rating. You can see Hjalmarsson, the Swede, doing a great job for us. If we look at him here, you can see 22 appearances, only a 6.77 average rating, but he's done pretty well defensively despite not contributing perhaps as much as you might expect going forward. Elsewhere in our defensive line, Stuart Percy's improving, the 22-year-old Canadian, continuing to do a job for us. Probably going to be looking to get him tied down to a new contract. You can see, looking at his history, 12 assists so far, which is really impressive, and also 1 goal to his name. So he's certainly contributing going forward. Gardner as well, another kind of youngster with some potential. He's still 25, so he has got a little time left to develop. You can see his number 1 or 2 talent. So far this year, 9 assists for him. He's doing a great job on our second defensive line. And to be honest, those front 2 pairs of our defence are really solid. Behind them, we do have Parlett, who we traded for this year, who's doing an okay job for us, kind of as just a third line defenseman. You can see a 6.78 rating for him. We then have Polak, who's just an absolute brute on the ice. He's doing okay too. You can see here, if we look, he is currently on a 6.23 rating. Actually, I thought he was doing a little bit better than that. He hasn't contributed too much. I have been playing occasionally with just 2 set for our defensive pair, just because our kind of 4 first choice defensemen are just so strong. But perhaps a little bit of depth needed. Could trade away Polak potentially. I've not made up my mind there. Looking at our kind of offensive line, it's kind of how you'd expect it to lay out. We go with JVR, Bozak and Kessel. I've not talked too much about Bozak this year, but he's done a great job for us again so far. He's currently on 27 points from 18 games, so he's right up there in the league. On our second line, Booth has been playing on the left of us. The 30-year-old is a good player. I wouldn't say he's good enough for the second line. If we look at it here, he's got 5 assists and 4 goals in 19 games, so 9 points. It's now okay, I guess. I feel like the left wing position is probably our weakest in terms of the depth we have there. In the centre position of our second attacking line, we do have Shaw, who I've already touched upon, doing pretty well for us. Also Panic, the Slovenian, or is it Slovakia? I don't want to get it wrong. That would be incredibly insensitive of me. It's Slovenian, isn't it? No, it's not. It's Slovakian. I've gone crazy. Someone send help. But he's done a good job for us there. Our third line, we have Grant playing out on the left. I don't think I've talked too much about Grant, but of course we got him in on the waivers. So far, he's not done great for us. 7 games, he's done absolutely nothing, but I'm hoping he can turn things around for us today. We then have Kadri playing at centre, who's been at the team for a while, of course, was here when I joined. He's a good player, got some room to improve into a first line talent potentially, although he is 25 now. But he's doing an okay job for us here. You can see 9 goals and 4 assists. Komarov out on the right wing, just a massive brute. You can see 4 goals for him in 20 games. He's got a few big goals for us, Komarov, even if he's not got that many. We then have Johnson playing out on the left wing. Player who was out on loan last year, of course. You can see so far for him, 3 assists and 2 goals. We then play with Megna down the middle, who is a player who we picked up at the start of this year, I do believe. I can't remember if we got him as a waiver pick or if he was involved in a trade. I'm pretty sure we picked him up maybe even as a free agent. He's not done too much for us either. And out on the right, we go with Fratin, who isn't that great. He's probably one of the weak links in our team, I guess. But you can see actually he's got 1 goal and 2 assists. Really, the big weakness at the moment in my team is just the strength in depth in the offensive area. Our kind of third defensive pair isn't ideal, but they do a job for us. But really, our reliance on our kind of first choice forward line is a lot. And it is kind of weighing into perhaps a decision that I might come to in the next few months, of deciding to bring in players like Connor McDavid, Nylander and Lawson Cruz all at once, play them in my kind of forward lines, maybe at different lines, so they're not all kind of playing together as an inexperienced trio. But I don't feel like they could do any worse than these players. I'd be interested to know if you guys think that that is something I should look to do, given the current situation. But anyway, we're not actually going to make too many changes there. We're just going to drop the puck, get straight into this game against the Habs. Hopefully we can get a win. We are away for this game. They are currently 2-1 up in this season's kind of series, I guess you could call it, against them. We want to try and win 3-2 across the 5 games we play against them. Although, with a goal like that, we're going to struggle. That was an incredible hit. I don't know if the keeper on the goalie was off-sighted there by perhaps a few men in front of him. It didn't look like it. It was just hit so hard and hit accurately that it's just gone straight in. Anyway, clock is slipping away here. It's currently 1-0 to the Habs. Going into the second, just a quick... I was going to take a quick look at the stat charts, but we won't do that now because they've got a face-off in our zone. I feel like we can see too many goals from face-offs. And I don't know if that's because they're sticking 2 men here, because I kind of feel like they might be off-sighting the goalkeeper or the goalie, or if it's just that I'm really unlucky, because it doesn't ever feel like, despite the fact they're stacking 2 men in the centre of the ice, that's ever kind of been the hindering factor on the fact they score from the face-off. I don't know, it always feels like this guy scores these face-offs against me. But who knows, this is the bit where now they just work a beautifully moved play, score a beautiful goal, and I look like an idiot. But I do feel like we can lose a lot of face-offs in our own zone that end up resulting in goals. But anyway, we are on the attack here. We have a chance. And JVR scores. Kessel and Bozak involved in the build-up. Our offensive kind of trio, that the men, the myth, the legends. Massive for us there. Looking at it, it's 2-1. They're still on the ice. Can Kessel work his magic? He tries to pull it back and... Well, Parlet's hit that from some range. I don't quite know how that's gone in, but we've tied it in at 2-2. And that's pretty decent. Can we complete a second period comeback? We have possession of the puck. We have possession of the puck, and Grant puts it in. Derek Grant doing the work for us. I've criticised my left wingers. I said they weren't doing enough. I said that was perhaps my problem area. But Derek Grant has just stepped things up there. And we are making a comeback against the Habs. We're on the attack here. Kessel pulls it back. Fowler with the goal on the power play. The Habs, well, we identified their power plays as kind of being their big strength. Right now, we have given away 4 penalty minutes. They've had 4 minutes with an extra man on the ice, and they've done nothing with it. Although they are on the attack here, and Southern has just hit it again crazily. Their right defenseman is just launching them at us, and he seems to be scoring every time. But anyway, it's 4-3 here. 2 minutes left on the clock. We're not going to change our tactics too much. We're going to just hope that we can see things out. But right now, it is kind of all even in terms of men on the ice. We do have possession of the puck. We just need to keep hold of it, really. Although, nicely moved by, I think it was Kessel out wide on the right. It was. We're now switching to our second line. Can Panic work some magic? He can't. And now the Habs bringing the puck forward, and they launch it, but that is a good save by Bernier. Will also get rid of the puck to keep the ball or the puck in play. Worth noting that the Habs are pulling their goalie now, so they are leaving their goal exposed. If we can just snatch the puck, maybe launch something from range, we should be able to score with a well-placed shot, although they have possession of the puck in our zone. And we are just going to kill the time behind the goal. And that will be that. 4-3, a great win on the road against the Habs. We have beaten our rivals in the Canadians. We will go above them and stay above them in the table. That is a relief. We now pull ahead of them by 3 points, which is nice. We're 23 games into the season. Defensively, we're still looking fairly strong, although Boston still got a load of games left to play. They could really kind of make up ground on everyone, really, and go straight to the top of the conference should they win their games in hand. Worth noting the Capitals are doing pretty well. You can see that they've played 3 less games than us, and they are on less points, but they are, of course, in the other division, so they are in second for that reason. And, of course, the Lightning, who won the Stanley Cup last year, going really strong too. They currently sit top of the entire conference, doing really, really well. Anyway, that's going to wrap things up from me, guys. As I mentioned, if you want to let me know if you think I should bring up my 3 youngsters to my forward lines and kind of start just playing them now, given how our current forward line's playing, I'd love to hear what you think. If you've got any comments beyond that, let me know down in the comments. If you've enjoyed this video, like it. If you're new here, subscribe. And other than that, it is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.